Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you all here today. At this time, would you please rise and join the Parker Band under the direction of Mr. John Beester for the playing of our national anthem. Thank you, Parker Band and Mr. Beester. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Chris Lau. I'm the principal here at Parker, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2019 Parker High School Distinguished Viking Ceremony. I'd also like to welcome Distinguished Viking Committee members and School District of Janesville staff. This is the 10th year that our school recognized graduates who have left Parker to make significant contributions in their career and community. Today, we'll recognize Mr. Steve Ellis, class of 1969, Mr. Mark Gunn, class of 1976, and Dr. Bridget Rice Lenz, class of 1997. Each of today's honorees has one thing in common with all the students here today. They began just like you attending Parker High School. As you hear their stories, be sure to look for similarities to yourself. At this time, I would like to welcome Mr. Beester back and have the Parker Band play for us O Magnum Mysterium by Morten Lansurium. Thank you, Mr. Beester and the Parker Band. While we transition, while they leave, I'd like to invite Seventh Heaven to the stage under the direction of Mrs. Jan Knutson, who will be sharing a song entitled Rise Up.
Merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move. I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Knutson in seventh heaven. At this time, please join me in welcoming our honorees to the stage.
Good morning. I am Delaney Arendt, and this is the 10th year that Parker High School will honor alumni for their accomplishments through the Distinguished Viking ceremony. The selection of Distinguished Vikings is done by a committee of staff, alumni, and community members. This year's committee included Officer Tom Bailey, Police Liaison Officer, alumnus, Mrs. Bonnie Brame, retired Parker teacher, alumna, Mr. Clayton Krieger, staff representative, alumnus, Mr. Chris Lau, principal, Mr. Dan Madden, retired Parker teacher, Mr. Brian Martin, Dean of Students, alumnus, Mr. Luke McColmut, staff representative, alumnus, Dr. Quiana Polk, assistant principal, and Ms. Nichols Waters, staff representative, alumna. A special thank you to the staff that helped make this ceremony happen. They include John Beester, music, Aaron Bleicher, stage and lights, Bonnie Brame, biography writer, Maritza Espinoza, program, Kathleen Hankey, technology, Cameron Harris, tech team, Jasper Nightingale, tech team, Jan Knutson, music, Peggy Lee, refreshments, Sam Van Gelder, program, Janice Verhurst, refreshments, Krista White, flowers, and Wyatt Yeager, tech team. The committee looks for nominees who have achieved or contributed in the following areas: educational excellence, political service, athletics or entertainment, community service, entrepreneurship, or contributions to career, community, or other worthwhile endeavors. Past Distinguished Vikings include Chaplain Colonel Thomas Bailing, class of 1980, Mrs. Christina Juki Krause, class of 2005, Mr. Gordy LaChance, class of 1978, Mr. Todd Wolf, class of 1971, Mr. O'Leary, class of 1981, Miss Michelle Alswager, class of 1987, Miss Denise Karleski-Quaddy, class of 1977, Mr. Terry Teach, class of 1973, Miss Kim Hendricks, class of 1979, Mr. Jay Smith, class of 1974, Miss Lori Summers, class of 1991, and Mr. Todd Kaiser, class of 1984. These people, along with our recipients today, have set a standard that we should all aspire to reach.
Good morning. I'm Charlie DeGarmo, and at this time, I would like to tell you about our first award recipient, Mr. Stephen Ellis. Stephen Ellis, Parker High School class of 1969, earned Most Valuable Player honors in baseball, setting the stage for lifetime involvement in America's national pastime. His years at Parker found him involved in football, basketball, and the Odin. He credits the faculty and administration with helping him to achieve in life and with making his transition from Janesville High School to Parker High School a smooth one. After high school, Mr. Ellis attended Milton College on a baseball scholarship. Even during his career with Janesville Auto Transport, he worked with Janesville Youth Baseball Softball Association, an organization in which nearly 1,000 boys and girls compete. For 47 years, he has served in many ways: coach, umpire, league president, and treasurer. Mr. Ellis volunteers in several capacities in Janesville. He provides free clinics for aspiring umpires and manages the scholarship program for children who can't afford JYBSA fees. Additionally, he has served on the Sports Coalition and Leisure Services Committee for Janesville and St. Mary Parish Council. Mr. Ellis and his family have assisted with Gifts Men's Shelter, and he assists residents at Cedar Crest with visits and rides to church. He believes volunteerism has allowed him to receive more than he has given, and that making someone's day a little bit better is an amazing experience. Mr. Stephen Ellis' family includes his wife, Nancy, sons Aaron, wife Catherine, and Andrew, wife Lene, and grandchildren Ty, Kaylee, Grayson, Braylon, Layla, and Everly. Let's see what it was like to be a student at Parker High School in 1969 and share in Mr. Stephen Ellis's accomplishments. Mr. Ellis's service to the community, volunteerism, and leadership have made a positive impact on every person that he has encountered and makes him an easy choice to honor as a distinguished Viking. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Stephen Ellis to the podium to receive his award. Mr. Stephen Ellis, on behalf of the students, staff, and alumni of Parker High School, I present to you this plaque that highlights your dedication to your career and community. This plaque will be a part of the permanent display to honor our distinguished Vikings. You are also receiving a smaller plaque to commemorate your accomplishments. Thank you for your dedication to your career and community and for allowing us to share your story today.
Good morning. Thank you, Charlie, for the kind introduction. I'd also like to thank those that are responsible for me receiving this honor this morning. Thank you to Dr. Polk and Mr. Martin for getting me to the ceremony and all the help along the way. I'd also like to congratulate Mark and Bridget on their well-deserved honor. Thank you to my family for all their support and their attendance this morning. My mother, Marilyn, my wife, Nancy, my son, Aaron, a 1994 graduate from Parker, and his wife, Catherine, my son, Andy, a 1998 graduate from Parker, and his wife, Lene, my brother, Gib, my brother, Dave, his wife, Pat, Tom and Mary Murray, my brother and sister-in-laws, Barb Klukas, my sister-in-law, and the joy of my life, my 6 grandchildren, some who are here this morning, Ty, Kaylee, Grayson, Braylon, Layla, and Everly. My journey to Parker is an interesting one. The 1960s in Janesville saw a large growth in population, and this was especially challenging for the school district. At one point, I think when I entered Franklin Junior High, my mother had children in 5 different schools. We all lived under one roof. Think about how challenging that was. We were at Grant, which is no longer, Wilson, Washington, Hillcrest, which is no longer, and Franklin. When I entered 9th grade, Janesville had recently decided that we needed another high school, which was junior high, I'm sorry. When I entered 7th grade, Franklin was recently built, and I went there through 9th grade. In that period, Janesville decided they needed another high school, and planning and construction of Parker began. For my 10th grade year, we were still one high school, Janesville Senior High School, and there was not enough room for all of the sophomores. So depending on where you lived, the boundaries they selected, some of us went to Marshall Junior High School for our sophomore year, and I was one of those. If you were involved in a activity after school, sports, clubs, whatever, you had to get up to Craig after school, which was then Janesville High School, for those activities. My junior year, Parker was not completed yet, so we split, and the Craig students went to school at Craig from 6 in the morning until noon, and the Parker students then went to school from noon to 6. And we did that until February of my junior year. We finished our junior year in this building, and then I completed my career at Parker in this building my senior year. It was an interesting time, but I believe it had, in large part, made me the person that I was. And that's because of the way that the administration and the staff at Parker handled all of this. Under the quiet, strong leadership of Hugh Horswell, the principal, and the vice principal, Dick Iglar, the students didn't know any different. It was what it was, and I never heard complaining. We just went where we were told to go and did what we were told to do. I can't imagine how difficult it must have been for the staff to do all of this. And I'm sure we have administrators this morning in this room. Can you imagine what those men and women, the challenges that they had? The lessons I learned at Parker went far beyond the classroom. Respectfulness, responsibility, reliability, motivation, integrity, hard work, compassion are all qualities and character traits that those administrators, teachers, and coaches exhibited during this time. My message to you this morning is to take all of the lessons you learn during your time at Parker and find a passion and use that passion to make your community better. Get out and volunteer. Find ways to make your community, wherever you make your home in the future, a better place for you and your family. Everyone here today has the ability to become a distinguished Viking just by living your best life. Thank you.
Next, I am honored to introduce Mr. Mark Gunn as a 2019 Parker High School Distinguished Viking. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community which will stand for solid in my part in that inspiring task. Words taken from the FFA Creed and words which describe the essence of Mark Gunn's life as an agriculturalist. As a proud Parker Viking of the class of 1976, he was a member of FFA, serving as president, and participated in livestock judging competitions, as well as entering several projects in the Rock County Fair. Farming is not just his occupation, it is his way of life. He credits his family, farming, and lessons learned at Parker High School with instilling a strong work ethic in him and in his children. After high school, Gunn was selected to the Wisconsin Rural Leadership Program through the University of Wisconsin. Here he strengthened his leadership skills while traveling to South Africa, India, Vietnam, Australia, and other countries. After working at General Motors for 5 years, he and his wife Susan pursued farming full-time, thus becoming the 5th generation of Gunn farmers in the town of Rock. Their operation has grown from 50 to 4,000 acres. Mark has been active in several Rock County agricultural organizations, including serving as president of the Rock County Pork Producers, Rock County 4-H Fair Board of Directors, Rock County Fair Swine Superintendent, Meat Animal Sale Chair, and Rock County Beef Producers. Promoting agriculture is Mark's passion, and that love has taken him to Washington, D.C. to lobby on behalf of farmers. He continues to serve as the chairman for the town of Rock and has previously served on the St. William Catholic Church Parish Council. A lifetime Westsider, Mark and Susan's grandchildren all graduated from Parker High School, and his children: Emily Gunn and Drew Severson, Daniel and Jennifer Brill Gunn, Laura Gunn Furman and Ben Furman, Christopher and Sarah McNall Gunn. Their grandchildren are Charles O'Leary, Biddletrip, and Cashton Colonel Gunn, Jack Benjamin, Ryan Richard and Daniel Christopher Furman, and William Mark, Christopher McNall, and Clara Susan Gunn, and they will ensure that O'Leary Gun Farms continues to grace Janesville's west side. Let's see what it was like to be a student at Parker High School in 1976 and share in Mr. Gunn's accomplishments. Mr. Mark Gunn's service, commitment, and leadership all over the country make him an easy choice to honor as a Distinguished Viking. At this time, I would like Mr. Mark Gunn to come to the podium to receive his award. Mr. Gunn, on behalf of the students, staff, and alumni of Parker High School, I present to you this plaque that highlights your dedication to your career and community. This plaque will be a part of the permanent display to honor our Distinguished Vikings. You are also receiving a smaller plaque to commemorate your accomplishments. Thank you for your dedication to your career and community, and for allowing for us to share your story today.
Thank you so much, administration here at Parker, for providing this day for me and my family. Congratulations, Stephen and Bridget. I would like to thank the committee that helped me make these selections to choose me for this honor. I feel very lucky to be receiving an honor for doing something that I love, and I want to thank my family who nominated me for this award. Without your support, I could not have given the volunteering hours and traveled the world without knowing everything at home was in capable hands. To give you a little bit of perspective of the times when I graduated in 1976, the United States was celebrating its 150th birthday. Our yearbook, we had in 1976, and mind you, we didn't have colored pictures like you have today. And at that time, I actually used to fit in my FFA jacket. And as you can see, times have changed with a few decades. That was back about 50 pounds ago, and maybe then still counting. But on my coat, I was a Parker FFA president, 1975 and 1976, my name. And then on the back side was Wisconsin, Janesville Parker FFA. I was fortunate, along with my sister, to have two exceptional parents, Rosemary and Biddle Gunn, who stressed the importance of my education from the day I started kindergarten at Rock School, through middle school, and at Edison, and through my years at Parker. My dedication to 4-H began when I was a young child, and my parents enrolled me in the local 4-H club. The 4-H motto is, I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world. 4-H provided me with my first sense that there is a larger community than just me. It also provided me with my first sense of competition. As a member, you select a project, work on it, and present it to the judges. Nobody but you are responsible for its presentation. My first project was showing a rabbit where I ended up in last place. I pouted, I cried, and I carried on being a poor loser. Then my parents made me do it all again the following year, and I did not get last place. I learned that the effort I put in would be rewarded. The FFA advisor when I joined Parker chapter in high school was Mr. Bernie Staller. He created a dynamic chapter, winning a silver award at the national level, which only 7% of the chapters nationwide ever achieved. We participated in the Rock County 4-H Fair with projects that matched our interests. The greenhouse behind Parker High School that's there now. We had the apple orchard near Parker High School here, and explains why many of the streets surrounding the school are named in different varieties of apples. As a chapter, we raised plants for sale, grew garden plots, sold fruit, and then reinvested the money gained from the sales back into the community. Mr. Staller taught us both in the classroom and through his leadership in FFA about giving back. The lesson stayed with me. Taking the ag classes and being active in the FFA chapter only made it clear to me that I wanted to make farming a full-time occupation. I distinctly recall during the fall standing in my football uniform at practice, and I could see the farmers in the field and working, and my only thought was that I'd rather be in that combine than playing sports. Our 4 children also graduated from Parker. Our kids were our workforce during our growing up years. We raised livestock together and planted and picked and sold a lot of sweet corn. Many, many mornings, our kids would be out of bed before dawn, help us load a semi-load of pigs, and then head to school by 11, so they would be eligible to play football and basketball game that night. Farming is not just my occupation, it is a way of life for my whole family. Unfortunately, not many people have the direct connection to agriculture. What they know of farming is seen on TV presented by Hollywood actor or sports heroes selling his viewpoint with no firsthand knowledge. Most children are now growing up in urban areas and other parts of the world, never have been on a working farm. The American farmer represents 2% of the population of attempting to feed and clothe the remaining 98%. Farmers are in a unique position where they are asked to cure malnutrition while also being asked to halt obesity. I encourage you to ask a farmer any question you have about agriculture and its related fields. Educate yourselves on the food source by asking the people that it's grown. Take an ag class while you're here at Parker. Join FFA as I did. You never know what you can learn. In 1993, I had the privilege of being selected to participate in the Wisconsin Rural Leadership Program. One of the best parts of this program was the opportunity to travel to many countries around the world, such as Vietnam, South Africa, and India, and among others. We were able to study issues each of those countries are facing. The future world wars may not be fought over oil or religion, but rather water rights to grow the world's food. One common lesson we learned while traveling different areas is that a few economically challenged citizens are given the tools to grow their own food that can start a whole wheel of prosperity. That farmer will need equipment, and eventually he will need a food processing plant, needs transportation, which requires an investment in infrastructure that creates additional jobs. But it all starts with the farmer. My travels gave me a real appreciation for the country's easy access to healthy food. May we never take that for granted. There are a few things that unite us all across the world, but we all need food and clothing. As high school students, you are at the beginning of choosing a career path. My hope is that when you hear the word agriculture, you don't only picture a person driving the tractor. There is a great choice of agricultural careers. Farm machinery needs an engineer. Farm needs an accountant. Genetically modified seeds to eliminate damages to our ecosystem is a result of years of scientific experiments with work of biologists and soil science experts. There is a growing interest in the use of hemp and CBD oil. There is a growing interest in the meat science industry. The equipment we use is all technology driven. I would encourage you to check out the food and fiber production when you are looking at job choices. You have a lot of faith to take on the great gamble that is farming. You are spending millions of dollars to put the seed in the ground with a great faith that if it's watered and tended to, it will sprout. I urge you to take those gambles in your life. You will never know what you can do if you don't first plant the seed. You may experience a bumper crop, or you may have some tough times of drought in your life, but keep plowing forward. Thank you for welcoming me today. I open my doors to our farm west of Janesville to each and every one of you if you're interested in learning more about agriculture and its role it could play in your life. Thank you, fellow Vikings and West Side Pride. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Hayden Kodrowski, and I am honored to be here today to be able to introduce Dr. Bridget Rice Lenz as a 2019 Parker High School Distinguished Viking. Dr. Bridget Rice Lenz was valedictorian of the class of 1997. She demonstrated leadership in various school activities, including National Honor Society, Student Leadership Council, and the soccer team, serving as team captain. She was also recognized as the most valuable player. Bridget was also involved in Washington Seminar, Badger Girls State, French Club, International Club, Orchestra, JSOL, volleyball, and basketball, earning most dedicated in both sports. Through her involvement, she forged many lifelong friendships and became a well-rounded individual. Her Parker mentors and experiences gave her the foundation for the work that she enjoys today, especially the opportunity to shadow a local family practice doctor. Bridget earned her Bachelor of Science at UW-Madison and then attended the Medical College of Wisconsin, where she was conferred her medical doctorate degree. She did her residency through the Waukesha Family Medical Program, and since then, she has been a family medicine physician at Pro Healthcare Medical Associates in Mequonico. Bridget's volunteer work includes being a member of the PTA at her daughter's school, refereeing for Wauwatosa Kickers Soccer Club, and staffing free clinics in the Milwaukee area. Her family includes her husband, Tom Lenz, and her two daughters, Adeline and Lillian. Let's see what it was like to be a student at Parker High School in 1997 and share in Dr. Lenz's accomplishments. Dr. Bridget Rice Lenz's volunteerism, mentorship, and leadership make her an easy choice to honor as a distinguished Viking. At this time, I would like Dr. Lenz to come to the podium to receive her award. Dr. Lenz, on behalf of the students, staff, and alumni of Parker High School, I present to you this plaque that highlights your dedication to your career and community. This plaque will be a part of the permanent display to honor our distinguished Vikings. You are also receiving a smaller plaque to commemorate your accomplishments. Thank you for your dedication to your career and community and for allowing us to share your story today.
What an honor it is to be back here at Parker High School today receiving this award, along with these other distinguished Vikings. I have a flood of memories that came back to me as soon as I entered the doors of the school this morning. It's been 22 years since I've been here, but walking through those doors, it feels like it was just yesterday. My family's here with me today. They hear me talk about growing up in Janesville quite often. I grew up right down the street from school. My two girls are here with me today and my husband. My girls got to play hooky from school today to come to this. I promised them I would take them to Frosty Freeze, so I'm hoping someone can tell me that's still a place here and that it might be open. Okay. Girls, we're having ice cream for lunch. Okay. Thank you to Mr. Dan Madden, who thought of me for this award, and thank you to the committee for all your work, and the beautiful music today was wonderful. Mr. Madden was one of my many awesome teachers, coaches, and mentors I had during my time here at Parker. I'm humbled you thought of me for this award. I want to thank my family for being here. My husband of 10 years, Tom, and my daughters, Adeline, who's 8, and Lily, who's 5. My mom and dad, Bill and Kay Rice. A bit of history for you is that my dad was the principal here at Parker High. He was a teacher for 4.5 years, then he was assistant principal for 1.5 years, and then was principal for 19 years here. If I did my math correctly, that's 25 years here. I think he should be getting a Distinguished Viking Award for the time he spent here. My mom was a nurse in Janesville for all my years growing up here as well. They were the ones chauffeuring me to all my activities here in Janesville, and I would not be where I am today without my family's love and support. When I was a little girl, I was watching Sesame Street one day, and I saw someone playing the violin. At age 4 or 5, I decided I wanted to play the violin too. I joined Suzuki Violin about age 5. I had a teacher named Allison who was on one of my first days playing on a real violin. She gave me a sticker to put in my violin case that said, "Bridget never says can't." It was to help to encourage me to not give up when I flubbed a note. I would have to say those words on that sticker stuck with me for the rest of my life. I tried all sorts of activities growing up in Janesville. Some things I liked, some things I passed on. When I got to high school, I found some groups I enjoyed and I played a few sports. I know it's been 22 years since I've been here, but I'm sure I went through lots of similar things as all of you have. I cried about boys, I got frustrated with homework, and there were Saturdays when I would have a game or an event that I wished I could have just slept in more. But those words from my violin teacher echoed in my head. Bridget never says can't. Going to school for so many years in a row is hard work. I made sacrifices. I never gave up on my goals. And I want to say to you that if you ever have a dream or a goal, I truly believe that if you work hard and don't give up, your possibilities are endless. There may be times that you stumble along your path, and that's okay. It's sometimes those stumbles we make that make us stronger. In high school, I had the opportunity to be a part of a mentorship class my senior year. During that class, you were able to pair up with an adult mentor in the community and Jab Shadow. I was matched up with Dr. Gregory Darrow, a Janesville family medicine physician. I already had the curiosity about medicine, and being a part of the program that Parker had offered solidified my desire to pursue a career in which I would help to get to take care of others. I'm so appreciative to Parker for giving me an opportunity like that in high school. It helped to lay the foundation for the career that I so love right now. It's such an honor to be a family medicine doctor. I get to take care of babies and kids and elderly from all walks of life. I see people through some of their highest points in life, but also some of their lowest and hardest. When my patients come to see me, they sometimes comment on the signs I have up in my office rooms. One of my signs says, "Do more of what makes you happy." I want you all to think about that in your head. Do more of what makes you happy. Now, I'm not talking about anything illegal in case any of you were going that way in your heads. I'm talking about what gives you that feel-good feeling. What makes you smile on the inside? Maybe it's a club here at Parker or a sport or getting to know a different classmate. Push yourself to find what makes you happy in life. That goes for your career choice as well. I look forward to going to work every day because it's another day where I have the opportunity to help people. I'm lucky to have found this in my life at age 40, and I hope you do too. The other sign I have in my office says, "The best things in life aren't things." The best things in life aren't things. I remember what high school was like. I remember having moments of feeling pressured that I needed a certain type of shoe or that I needed a car to drive to school. Cell phones did not exist yet. I'm aging myself by saying that, but it is true. I'm guessing that's one of the things that people compare and feel pressure about these days. But you know what? If I wrote a letter to my 40-year-old self, back to my 16-year-old self, I would say stop worrying about material things. Look around what really means something in life. Your family, your friends, your mentors, nature. These are the best things in life is what I've learned. Now, I know being in high school, it's not all sunshine and roses. But I hope for you that you find things that make you happy here and that you see that the best things in life aren't things. Thank you very much for letting me be here with all of you today. And if there's anyone out there who has a passion for medicine, look me up. I'd love to talk to you. Thank you very much.
I want to thank our honorees for sharing their stories with us today. My hope is that that's been an inspiration to all of our Parker students and that you'll all aspire to one day be on this stage and to have your plaque grace the Hall of Parker. I want to thank our committee for all of their hard work, not only identifying our recipients today, but for helping plan all the things that we've had done for us as well. A special recognition to Mr. Kirk Utek in our Technology Education Department for their work in producing our plaques. We very much appreciate their work. Special thank you to Mr. Martin, Dr. Polk, Mrs. Hankey, Mr. Beester, and Mrs. Knutson for their help in making this day even more special than it could have ever been if I were running it. And thank you to our students for their help as well. The message I hope everyone takes away is that each of our honorees embarked on the same journey as every student that's watching this ceremony. All of our lives start out pretty similar, pretty plain. It's the goals you make, and it's what you do with those that makes your future happen or not. Please remember the stories that you've heard today. Students, challenge yourself to reach the same goals or even higher. Thank you all for your wonderful attendance. Thank you, family members and friends, for joining us today. And at this time, students, you're welcome to go back to second hour. Actually, you're expected to. Thank you. You guys did great. Awesome. Awesome. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, when he said he graduated in 1976, I was in kindergarten. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's crazy.